me just move down. Hello, hello. Hello, welcome to another Q&A. It has been a sweet time since I've sat here and done a Q&A. I don't know where these months have gone. I've been seriously busy with house things, work things, and running my own radio show. So as you can imagine, it's been quite full on. But I'm so delighted to be back for a final Theatre and Tonic Q&A of 2021. Where has this year gone? I hope you are all well and that you had a lovely Christmas and that you are reflecting on 2021 positively and looking ahead to a new year, because quite frankly things are a bit bizarre again at the moment, and I'm so delighted that I've got a really good guest joining me today. I've got the wonderful Hannah Lowther, who is a TikTok sensation who also worked at Tesco during the pandemic and is now having her professional debut in the other palace doing Heathers. What an incredible probably 12 months for Hannah. So I'm so delighted she's joining us. And if you've got any questions for Hannah about creating things on TikTok or her journey into Heathers, then definitely leave them below. I'm going to add it in for you now. Also, I seem to have developed a random cough in the last 10 minutes, so I am going to apologise for that now. It's not COVID, guys, I promise. Hello.
Hello.
Here she is. Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay. A little bit hungover today.
Oh no!
Do you know when you wake up and you're like, oh god.
Yeah. Is this a hangover? It's that time between Christmas and New Year where it's just there's not really anything else to do, is there? So
Might as well drink. Might as well get very drunk.
Yeah.
But it's all good. Thank you so much for joining me, Hannah. I know it's a really weird time for you at the moment, with obviously Heathers announcing that they've had to kind of close for the time being. So
it's pretty so we've been hit quite badly with COVID. We were fine for a while. We kind of had a scare at the start of December, but we managed to stay open, and then just basically after Christmas Day since then we've just had more and more cases, so it was including me. I feel fine though, so it's kind of annoying. Well, it's not annoying, I'm glad I feel fine, but I'm but I could be doing the show right now, but obviously I'm infectious, so I can't. Bad idea. But yeah, so we've had to close until the 2nd, and then we were going to be off anyway on the 3rd and 4th. So hopefully, touch wood, back on the 5th. So
it's a mental time, isn't it? It's just so mental. It seems to be all of a sudden with this new variant, everything's gone ba-dumph again.
Yeah, and everyone, I know so many people that have got it. And it wasn't showing up on my lateral flows, so because we were kind of in close contact with someone else who tested positive, I got a PCR and that came back positive. It's just you just never know. But we've been going into the theatre with negative lateral flows for weeks and weeks, and people could have had it because it wasn't showing up. So but we just have to trust that hopefully as of the 5th most people will be back, and hopefully that will will have got through the bad.
Yeah, hopefully it's kind of gone through you all, and then by then you'll just be able to chill out and enjoy the run.
Yeah, it's supposed to be on till the 20th of February, so there's still a nice amount of time to get settled into the show and hopefully not have a disruption again like this. But yeah,
let's be positive.
Yeah, we're keeping positive. It's weird having time off. I'm I don't know what to do with my time. I need to do my tax return.
There you go. Oh, that's always fun.
No, I've left it so late. But Jordan's on here. Hey, Jordan.
So let's get to it then. So obviously people kind of know you for TikTok more than probably most things. And so what kind of drew you to uploading on that platform during the pandemic?
I think there was a time in the kind of the first lockdown, I'm talking like March, April 2020, that everyone was just like, what's this TikTok? It's like this thing. I remember the kids I used to teach on a Saturday would be like, can we learn TikTok dances in our tap class? I was like, no, we can't. What even is that? That's so, like, they were all like catching the woe and doing all this like stuff, and I was like, that is so embarrassing. Like, why would you do that? And then lockdown came along and everyone downloaded TikTok. So I downloaded it but never really created any videos. It was just mainly like scrolling. It's quite addictive, really. And it was mainly just family and friends. So then I got the job at Tesco on like the second week of lockdown, because I just didn't want to sit and do nothing, and I wanted to get out there and try and, you know, keep busy. So I'd been there like a few months before I started making TikToks, and it mainly just stemmed from me being bored and me having this, like, musical theatre has always been such a huge part of my life. So to have that kind of taken away all of a sudden, not even just performing, but like going to class and seeing shows, seeing live theatre, doing auditions and things like that, that really does like keep that passion going, had all been taken away for so many of us. So I remember I was at Tesco that I kept looking at different products around the store and relating them to musical theatre songs. And we were all like temporary collies. And there was one time I said to one of my colleagues, I was like, oh, there's this kitchen towel called Regina. And I kept singing, my name is Regina George from Mean Girls. And she was like, what even is that? Like, she had no idea. And I was like, somebody out there has got to appreciate all the musical theatre references. And so I just kind of started filming it on TikTok. Obviously, we're not really meant to film at work, but it was, at the time, we had loads of temporary staff and it was quiet. So eventually I started doing it before my shifts, not whilst I was meant to be. But to start with, I just kind of did it randomly, and then that's where it started from. And I think to start with, I think my video maybe got like 200 views, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a superstar. So I just kind of carried on. I did part 1, part 2, and I had lots of friends as well that were really like backing me up and giving me all these new ideas. And I was like, oh, I might as well just do it. And I was just really consistent with it. And then, yeah, it kind of went from there, and then went a bit crazy.
Yeah. And so have your friends and family been really supportive with you? Because I guess for some people with like social media, there is a bit of a question about it, isn't there? And people are like, what are you doing that for? Like, what's that about? Did you have that as well, or were your family and friends just like, this is Hannah's thing, we'll let her get on with it?
I think to start with, most of my family and friends were really supportive, just like, oh yeah, whatever, like, we're all doing random things like in lockdown, it's just like a little hobby. And it still is kind of like a hobby, like, but now it's turned into a job, which is crazy. There was a bit of question from certain family members and friends that kind of maybe weren't in that generation of, my phone keeps sliding down, I'm so sorry, that aren't in that generation of like social media where it's kind of normal to just do whatever and do what you want to do on there. So I think after a while they kind of got it. But I think to start with, it was very much like, what is she doing? Like, that's just another one of Hannah's like weird random things that she does. And I guess it kind of is like, it's a weird concept, but it's 2021. Oh my gosh, it's almost 2022, but it's 2021. World's changing, and I feel like I said that a lot this year. I kept being like, guys, it's 2021. Like, you just need, like, the times are moving, and we have to move with it. And that's what I'm trying to do. I still feel like I'm only 24, and I still feel like I know this is crazy to say, but I am one of the older creators on TikTok at 24, because it's such a young platform. So for these, like, you know, teenagers that are on TikTok, they probably look at me and they're like, oh, there's that cringy like old person. Even though I still feel really young, and I am, but yeah,
it does make you feel old though, doesn't it? Because they are young on there.
But then I think that's where older creators, I say older, like, I'm not old, I'm not saying that, but I think that's where older creators sometimes do well on TikTok, because we kind of have more direction with what what kind of content we're doing. And I think it's definitely up and coming, and it's good to see so many different styles of TikTok. I could talk about it for ages. There's so many different realms of TikTok. When I first started, it was very much musical theatre, and they had the whole Ratatouille musical and Bridgerton musical, all stemmed from TikTok, and I was just like, that can happen.
So, I really want Ratatouille the musical to come back.
Yeah, it's got to be a thing. And it was amazing. Like, I know that more than I know Ratatouille the film now, because like, I don't know, that's a prime example of how TikTok does. And like the Bridgerton musical, which is they've got like a soundtrack out on Spotify now. It was so amazing that they saw something that was really relevant, like Bridgerton. My phone keeps sliding down. That everything hold on, let me try and put it here. That's better. Everyone was talking about Bridgerton. It was this new thing, so she just made a musical about it. And like, it's just amazing. So much like that can come from TikTok.
And do you think that's kind of inspired your kind of creativity as well? Because I guess for you, during the pandemic, it's quite hard to remain creative when there's nothing really for you to go out and see physically. You know, a lot of it was digital. So do you think that really kind of helped you creatively as well?
Yeah, definitely. Like, getting inspiration from other people on TikTok and media and social media is all we had. So that is where I got the inspiration from. Like, normally I'd go to the theatre or I'd meet up with friends and we'd all talk about it or whatever, but that wasn't possible. So we all did turn to social media to get inspiration for things. And yeah, definitely things like Bridgerton the musical, and also like TikTok with the trends and stuff that go around on there. It's very much like nobody really owns a trend. So like, if I were to start this trend and then other people started doing it as well, but putting their own spin on it, that's the whole point of it. And it's about taking other people's creative ideas, because it's such a huge platform, and like, that's kind of what it's about. You kind of like, you learn, one person makes up a dance and everyone learns it and copies it, and then that's how it spreads. It's the same thing with trends and with all sorts of things, songs and dances and stuff like that. So there's definitely an element of getting creative ideas from other creators and then putting your own spin on it. And I think what I was lucky at the start is, because I was at Tesco, all of these trends and all of these dances, my spin on it was just putting it in Tesco. And that's how I grew at the start, because I could have put my spin on it and done it in my bedroom and done something that's different, but that doesn't stand out as being that different. It's harder to grow. So I was lucky that I had the kind of the Tesco platform, if you will, to put all of these ideas into that perspective, which I do think was great. But getting out of that Tesco regime now, I'm like, okay, and I now need to think of content that isn't just dancing in Tesco. What can I do? But I'm trying to kind of change it up and make it more Heathers related and everything. So
yeah, that's good though. Do you miss Tesco's though?
No.
Do you not?
No. No.
That chapter is closed.
Yeah, I mean, it was great, and obviously it served the purpose that I needed a job, and I found some, like, all this TikTok stuff through that. But also when people wow,
not for me.
When people say, wow, you look so happy to be working at Tesco, I was like, I'm an actress. We do.
We all do it. We don't all go in with happy faces.
Exactly. It's like, if I'm having a bad day at the theatre, or a day where I'm feeling really sad or whatever, I don't go on stage and look sad. I go on stage and I do the show and I perform and I act. So like, that's kind of my platform, is kind of that for me. It's being on stage, it's being in front of an audience, and I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm just serving customers today. Like, I don't know. You just give it a bit of jazz hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fine. I mean, I got on really well with all my colleagues, and it was nice, like, interacting with all sorts of different customers and stuff. But I won't be rushing back.
Going back there,
no,
yeah.
but I might, my manager was really lovely, and if I ever get to a point where, you know, my contract finishes and I'm struggling for work or anything, I'm sure they'll be really supportive and help me in getting back into work. But hopefully I won't. But great stepping stone.
Absolutely. And obviously you just touched on Heathers, which is a fantastic debut for you. So how did Heathers kind of come about? And it must be really like, I bet it's still like you have to pinch yourself still that it's happening after all this time.
Yeah, every day in the dressing room I sit there and I'm like, guys, this is really cool that we're doing, and we're like, yeah, get over it. No, it's crazy. I still can't believe it. It's like pinch me moments every day. Every day when we stand on stage, particularly at the end of the show, we sing like a reprise of Beautiful, which is the title main song in the show. And there's a bit where we look out into the audience, we're like, beautiful, beautiful, looking out. And it's just like every time I get a tear in my eye, every night, every time we do a show, because that is truly, I know this is so cringe. And that's just, I have accepted that's who I am now. But that's literally all I've ever dreamed of doing. That's ever since I was a child, you know, I've always wanted to do that. And so it's quite a weird feeling to have like your biggest dream in life. And I know that's like really just like, you mean like your biggest dream in life? I'm like, no, for real, my biggest dream in life, to have achieved that, it's quite a weird feeling, because I'm like, I can't quite believe, like, I need a new goal now. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. All about that, but at the same time, it's just crazy that, yeah, that I've achieved that huge goal and that dream that I've had for my whole life. Yeah, it's such a weird feeling. I'm loving it. I'm loving it so much. And yeah, just I love my track. Lots of people are like, oh, but do you prefer going on? I went on for Heather Chandler.
Yeah.
And I loved it, but like I also love my own track. I love just being on stage and doing it. And yeah, I saw Heathers at the Other Palace in 2018, like when Carrie was in it, and when it first and like I look through my phone, I've got old pictures of me and my sister like in the toilets of the Other Palace, like taking mirror. And like to think that a few years later I'll be in that same theatre in that show. And those people that were in that show that I saw, we all kind of joke about it, because I'm like this musical theatre fangirl. So everyone that I saw in that original cast of Heathers, I was like obsessed with, huge fan. And so now to have them coming to watch the show and them seeing us in the show, like Lauren Drew, she was the original I hope she's not, that's gonna be so embarrassing. She was the original New Wave girl, and her fiance Sam is in our show now. So Lauren came to watch, and I was like, you're my idol. I said it to her face. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so embarrassing, because like I'm in the show that she was in. And there's so many moments where I'm like, oh my god, I love this person, I love that person, and like, and now I'm in that same show, and like even people that are in the show with me now, I fangirl about them all the time. It's really it's not embarrassing, they just know that's what I'm like. But
I bet they're it's just Hannah.
Yeah.
Just roll there.
So like as well, I did a workshop with Prep Your Rep. I don't know if you know, 𝗘𝗺 O'Connor has Prep Your Rep, and so I did a few workshops with them, which it was kind of in a time where I probably I'd love to go back and do some workshops there as well, because it was such a supportive, lovely environment, and I hadn't gone to class in so long, and I was so nervous about going to class, so I went to their workshop. And Emma Kingston, who's playing MJ, who's playing Heather Chandler, she was teaching the workshop. So she was doing the acting through song part of the workshop, and I didn't get up and sing. I just kind of watched and took notes. But like she was teaching the workshop, and I was like a huge fan of her work and things she'd done, and she's an incredible performer. And now I'm understudying her in the same show as her, like a few months after being taught by her in a workshop. So it's the amount of pinch me moments. My arms are all pinched up. It's
brilliant. And can you remember that moment growing up where you were like, right, I definitely want to be in theatre? Because people have a moment, don't they, when they go, I remember that day. Do you remember that moment when you were like, right, I definitely want to do this?
I don't remember a specific moment or like a specific day, but I did like dance classes when I was younger, like lots of kids do. And then I auditioned for like an Amdram production of Annie. And I remember my mum being like, just so you know, if you don't get in, don't cry. It's okay. If you don't get in, it's not a big deal. We'll just try again next year. And I remember I got in and I got the part of Molly, who was like the little cute.
Oh, cute.
And I loved every second of it. And I think that was like the first time I was like, I think my parents as well realised, oh, you know, even though I was only like the little cute one that kind of just sat there, they were like, oh, she's quite good at this, isn't she? I mean, every parent thinks their child's amazing, but I think they kind of were like, oh, you know, this, you know, she could actually make something of this, make this like a hobby, like a proper hobby. So it's just weird that now, yeah, and that's what kind of where it started. I was actually very lucky when I was younger. After I did some Amdram stuff and like local dance shows, I was in the Sound of Music in London. So I auditioned for that, a few things. I auditioned for Mary Poppins first and I didn't get it. And I was heartbroken, honestly. I was devastated. I cried all the way home. My mum was like, right, we're never doing this again. She can't hack it. But I was like, no, mum, I'm fine, I can get over it. And then we went to the Sound Music audition and I didn't get it the first time. And then I went again. The next year, I was a bit taller and I got it. And that's kind of where it was like, from the age of 10, it was my job. So I guess Heathers is my first like kind of debut in that sense. But it's kind of not, because I do work when I was younger, but I'm always like, oh, it doesn't really count. It's not the same. I was just, yeah. But I was Peter von Trapp in Sound of Music. So that was the most amazing experience as well. And I still see people today and meet people that I remember from, I did Sound of Music and Oliver and Chitty, and I meet like the musical director of Heathers, Phil. He was the children's musical director when I did Chitty. So I still meet people today that I looked up to and remember from those jobs when I was 10 or 12 or whatever.
It's almost like a full circle though, isn't it? I think that's how the industry works though, isn't it? It is pretty much like a full circle all the time.
A full-on full circle. And especially with Heathers, there's so many full circle moments with this show. It's like, I know it's super cringe, I just keep saying it, but it's like it was meant to be this show. I can't explain it. I went to see it at the Haymarket actually. My friend Ross played Kurt when it was at the Haymarket, and me and Freddie King, who's JD in our cast, we went to see it together because Ross is like our best friend. We went to see it and we sat together at the Haymarket, and now I made a video actually of me telling him that I'd got the part. And
best video. That is the best video. It's so good.
And and now we're doing the show together. It's just like the amount of full circles is crazy.
Oh, it's so good though. So obviously your rehearsal period for the show though was so short, wasn't it? It was really intense, and obviously as well because you cover roles as well. So how did this work with kind of learning New Wave Girl as well as cover roles?
Yeah, well, so we had 2 weeks of rehearsing and then a few days of tech, and then we opened. So it really was short, but I feel like, to be honest, we didn't look at the cover parts until we'd opened, which was kind of a scary thing. I mean, this was like my first thing, so I kept asking everyone. I was like, is this normal? Is this normally happening? Like, I don't know, it's different everywhere. But yeah, it's definitely scary opening the show knowing that if someone goes off tomorrow, we wouldn't have been rehearsed in. I think that's quite a big conversation at the moment anyway, in terms of swings and understudies and stuff, which I won't go into. But it was intense, but I loved it, and it's like the show that I've loved for so long, and then actually like learning it is really exciting. Like I knew most of the songs anyway, to be honest, and I am what was I going to say? I'm a dance captain as well, so there was the element of like learning everything, making sure we knew. Basically, we had problems within the first week, just after we opened officially. After press night, we were on a cut show straight away for like 2 weeks. Oh no, 1 week. So we basically were doing a different cut every single night because we had different people off and different people covering. People had like pre-approved like days off and stuff like that. So it was quite intense for the first few weeks. And obviously I'd never dance captained before. I was asking people all the time, like, am I meant to do that? But I've kind of got the hang of it now. I have got the hang of it now. But it's just like a whole learning curve. But everyone is just so lovely and so supportive. And the end goal at the end of the day is to be out there putting on an amazing show. And yeah, it's just lucky that we're all so passionate about the show and about what we do. Because I think if there was a group of people that weren't that passionate, things might not have worked out as well as they have, if that makes sense, in terms of cutting the show and everyone kind of stepping into cover and things like that. But because we're all so passionate about making doing what we love and putting on a good show, that it's ended out fine. So
absolutely,
yeah, it was really fun rehearsal period. And I love Andy Fickman. I've been like, he's the director, if anyone is watching that doesn't know. He's a big time Hollywood director. But this is like my super fangirl moment that I'm gonna say online. I still do, I watch Carrie Hope Fletcher's YouTube videos. And sorry, I'm embarrassed.
Fashion corner.
I would watch them because they're so good. But I watched her YouTube videos when she was in Heathers the first time round, so that's kind of how I'm like this fangirl of everybody. And Andy Fickman was in all of her videos, and I was like, I love Andy. And so then be in a room with him and him be like telling us what to do, and he's the loveliest person in the entire world. Just being like with him and him knowing me and actually getting to know him was amazing. All the creatives and everyone involved has just been great. So yeah, dream come true, like working with Andy Fickman. Big fan. Maybe he's watching. No, probably not. He's probably doing fancy Hollywood stuff.
You never know, Hannah. He could be here watching you.
Hi.
But obviously, you said about the conversation. Like I am going to touch on it, but understudies and covers are a massive conversation at the moment. Do you believe that they're the right conversations to be happening now that we're in the state that we're in? Because obviously every day West End covers, their Twitter's going mad with obviously news of people taking on roles. We've got people coming in from other shows. So do you think now is the time moving forward into 2022, which really seems mad to say, but do you feel like now, as someone that does cover, there needs to be more conversation about that?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously this is my first experience of anything and covering, so people with more experience of that probably have more to say, but I think it is definitely a conversation that probably should have happened before we got into this situation where COVID is such a big thing and people can go off at any minute and be off for 10 days. And the conversation that's happening now is simply because these shows want to stay open and want to continue making money, which is obviously important. And because of that, then these people who are covering step up to the mark. Because that's just what we do, because we love what we do, and if we didn't, we wouldn't
be in the job.
No, exactly, because it's so hard. So it's definitely a really important conversation. I mean, I feel like I can't say too much about it because I don't have a huge amount of experience in that, but
no, yeah.
I've definitely always been a huge I remember we went to watch Cinderella, and we went to watch it because my friend's housemate was in it, and I met a TikTok follower on the stairs, and they were like, oh, we're really gutted that Carrie's not on. And so me and my friend straight away, like I didn't see Carrie in it because it was her alternate, but straight away we kind of shut them down. We were like, oh no, the show is going to be amazing and you're going to get just as good a show, with the alternate. And that's why and the understudy, I'm a huge thing of I remember I hope my dad's not watching, but he booked to see Waitress when Ashley Roberts was playing Dawn, and they for the Saturday matinee, which is normally when the alternate would be on a Saturday matinee. So the alternate was on, and they were fuming. They were like, I paid to see Ashley Roberts and blah blah blah, and I was kind of like, you know, the show would have been just as good without her in it. And I remember that was one of the first times I was like, oh, people actually really do pay to go and watch these shows because of the, you know, certain people that are in it. And it's tough.
I think that's what needs to change though, because I think as an audience member we need to be going, right, you shouldn't be seeing it because of the name,
yeah,
you should be seeing it because of the show.
yeah, but then
but I understand why they do that.
Yeah,
because of
I understand that. And I also think that, but because people who aren't maybe regular theatre goers, that those names like Ashley Roberts does sell to my dad. That's a bit weird. But because those names do sell, you know, that's what helps keeps these shows open for longer and keeps them successful, because people are coming to see people, you know, that they see off their TV and off TikTok maybe. So yeah, I've had a few messages of people being like, are you going to be on the show? Are you going to be? And I'm not saying I'm selling tickets like crazy. Like, I'm not on the, it's not like that deep. But I have had a few people DM me and say, are you definitely going to be in the show on January the 27th? I'm booked it and I don't want to come all the way down up from Cornwall if you're not going to be there. And I've just like, oh, it's just a hard conversation to have, isn't it? And I would say I've not got any pre-booked days off, so I will be on unless ill or whatever, unless the show goes because of COVID, so, or anything. I'm ill or I'm whatever. You never know what can happen. It's weird because in normal jobs, those conversations don't happen.
No.
So it kind of, yeah, it's a really weird thing, and I'm glad it's being talked about a lot. And I saw Hugh Jackman did a kind of big speech at one of his what show was it? What show is he doing?
Music Man.
So yeah, I'm glad it's being talked about, definitely.
Yeah, me too. It's so lovely though to see them get the praise that they deserve as well though, because I feel like now people are praising them more and talking about it more in a positive way, going, wow, like, well done, or, you know, look what these people are doing.
Yeah, definitely. And it's the hardest job. I would say that because that's I just do the hardest job. No, I'm joking. But I truly do think being a swing and an understudy is the hardest job, because you're learning so many different things. I think that I did find that hard in the rehearsal period, that I was trying to learn my own track, my other tracks, and know what everyone else is doing, because I'm the dance captain as well. So I personally did find it really hard, and I know lots of people don't get the appreciation that they should get for being, like, some people in shows swing or cover like 10 different tracks or sometimes more. So it's just crazy. But I also think it's important that we teach that to like people who are in training. We did talk about swings when I trained, but it wasn't like a huge,
I bet it was just touched on like briefly, like, you know, it was, but actually it's a really key skill to learn, because I guess most people that go into the West End, they start as swings.
Yeah.
And that's how you develop your career, isn't it, surely?
Yeah, so it's definitely important that they kind of think about that a lot in drama school, because your brain needs to work in a different way. I've already said that from this job, my brain is working in ways that I never thought it could work. It's definitely like something that you have to learn. It doesn't just happen overnight. You don't just all of a sudden go, yes, I've learned 10 tracks, sorted. It's something that your brain gradually adapts.
It needs time. Yeah. So
I kind of do wish that we'd have done more of it at drama school. But obviously that was actually quite a long time ago now, so chances are I'd have forgotten by this point. But there are good courses actually that do like swing intensives. I can't think off the top of my head what they're called, but there's a good few courses that do like swing intensives and stuff that I've always been interested in doing, but since COVID. It's just not been possible.
No, there is a really good question here. So someone said, would you say TikTok helped you with landing your role?
Oh. So this is a conversation that I've always thought about, because I truly, and I've said this out loud in the dressing room, they'll be like, no, you got it because of your talent. And I appreciate that. And I do feel like I can do the job well and, you know, whatever. But I truly think I wouldn't be in this role where I am today without TikTok, because that platform allowed me to meet so many people and have so many experiences that kind of put me out there, that then led to me getting this audition and then subsequently me getting the job. So I guess TikTok did help. I guess it definitely did. It definitely did. So long story short,
yes.
I get invited to events, and I meet lots of like exciting people at these events and things. And someone who really loves theatre is Amy Hart from Love Island. I can't remember which year it is. So we're friends now, but she followed me on TikTok, and I was invited to an event at the Theatre Cafe because my friend Jack, who I actually knew before TikTok, so I guess kind of not, but I was invited to an event at the Theatre Cafe for their reopening because I am in their cookbook. I've got like a page in their cookbook, and I wouldn't have had that without TikTok. The whole thing was musical theatre TikTok page, whatever. And so I went to this event and Amy was there. We kind of chatted and became friends, and then kept in contact. And she then, it's a really long story, but basically she's really good friends with the producer of Heathers, and then I met him at the event as well. And it was all kind of just making connections, and I hate the word, but networking, and meeting different people and kind of being introduced as, oh, this is Hannah, she does TikTok, blah blah blah. And I was like, oh yeah, but I am a trained actress as well. Hello.
That's quite hard though, because sometimes I guess you kind of you don't want to be always known as the TikToker. Like you want to be, I am an actress, I am trained.
Yeah. And I think getting this job has been such a huge help in that, because it's like, oh, she's from TikTok, is she able to do it? And then if you came and see the show, you know, it's not any different. I don't know, it's really hard to kind of think about it like that. But yeah, so basically that's, I do think TikTok did help me get the job. And it's so hard to even get auditions for anything nowadays. I don't even think that I'd have been seen by the producers had they not, met me at that event, or had like a connection through a friend or anything for me to even send the tapes off for this audition. So yeah,
that's a positive though. That's it, as a positive. If you're out there and you're making the connections and you're networking.
Yeah, and I always struggle because I don't want people to think, and I know it's all about like what people think, I don't want people to think that I've been handed this job on a plate, because realistically, when I look back at all the hard work I've put into that platform and into my videos and into keeping like this passion going throughout these past few years, that I have worked really hard, and I kind of have to keep reminding myself of that, because it's not always she's got 500,000 followers on TikTok and she got a job in the West End. It's not, although I'm happy for them to go with that story if it means that it puts me on ITV News or whatever, fine. But at the same time, lots of hard work and training and blood and tears has gone into that as well.
Yeah. You've basically done a non-traditional way of getting into theatre.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah, and I do think that, the world, it's 2021, the world is changing, and, you've got to set yourself your own brand. And you've got to just put yourself out there. And I think lots of people are scared of putting themselves out there online. I spoke to someone a few months ago that said that they'd love to start creating videos for their singing lessons and like kind of singing tutorials on TikTok and stuff, but they were worried about judgment and about trolls. And yeah, so it's obviously up and coming, but obviously people are a bit apprehensive about this new kind of thing as well. Because
I think it's probably as well though, because people do, you know, people pay a lot of money to train, don't they? And I think some people are like, oh, well, I've paid all this for training, and they just get, and I'm like, yeah, but some people have also trained, but because they don't go around, like, you don't go around going, but I trained, like, excusing yourself every time.
Yeah, you're right. And also people can do amazingly in musical theatre that haven't trained. It's truly about putting in hard work and being in the right place,
Being in the right place at the right time.
and just putting yourself out there, which is hard. They don't teach you that at drama school. They don't teach you that where to be in the right place at the right time and who to talk to and meet and stuff. You kind of just have to go with the flow. And yeah.
I think it's amazing what you've managed to do. But obviously, you know, the cast for your production are epic. And of course, it has a reputation. You know, it has such a big following. Does that add pressure? Because obviously you've had Carrie, you've had Jodie Still, who basically made Hilbert Chandler her complete own. You know, you've had so many fantastic people in that show. So do you think it adds pressure bringing it out again?
I think there is pressure, but I think more than pressure, there's just so much support from the Corn Nuts, which are the Heathers fans, if people watching don't know. But they're called Corn Nuts, and they're kind of like Heathers fans are called Corn Nuts, and the support from them is just incredible. And it's not so much, although they grow to love a cast and they grow to love individual people, they love the show and they love the story, and it is such an important story. And I've had people come and watch it that are like, oh my gosh, it covers so many topics. I'm like, yeah, and it's so relevant today, even though it's set in, when's it set? 1989. Is it 1989? Dear Diary. I'm sure it's 1989. Even though it's set then, it's still so relevant today. Someone in the comments will 100% know. I think it's 1989. But it's still so relevant today, and I think that's why the fans are so kind of behind the show rather than people. And then they grow to love the people, and it's they're amazing. And the support from them, like on our opening night, was absolutely electric. I can't even explain it. Like every single fan in the audience was a Corn Nut. Every single person pretty much watching was a Corn Nut, apart from like my mum and dad. Well, they're Corn Nuts now. But as soon as like we walked out on stage, like you could just feel that energy from people, because they just love the show and they don't care who does it, or they don't care, where it is. I think it's a plus that it's back at the other Palace, because it's such an intimate venue, which is great COVID-wise, I'm not going to lie, but it's great in terms of being able to connect with the audience and be really near them. Like the front row is so close, I can't even explain it. It's basically on stage, right?
It is 1989, by the way. They have confirmed.
September. Yeah,
you still got your job, don't worry.
I got that wrong. I don't cut that part, so technically I don't need to know that. But I've done my character research, so of course I know it's 1989. Silly. I remember when I was covering for Chandler, when she, sorry if anyone hasn't seen it, and she falls, I actually hit someone in the front row with my arm. I hit their leg, and my arm was just like hanging over the side of the stage like this, and it's just like, it's that close. I kind of wanted to be like, sorry, but
yeah, just wake up from the dead. Are you okay?
Great. But yeah, that was a crazy moment as well, because I kind of like told everyone that I was going to be on that date. Luckily, it was like a pre-approved day, so I could kind of invite people. And yeah, that was very emotional, because the Corn Nuts were just, the Corn Nuts, and also the followers and my family and everyone were just so lovely and supportive, and the rest of the cast the support from them all the time is just incredible. We're like a family. I know it sounds so cringe,
but I also think, I don't know if you agree, but a lot of the audience are quite younger.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's such a good way, because, you know, we do have these traditional long-standing musicals, which are fantastic. But I feel like, you know, Heathers is such a good way for younger audiences to come in. Like, I know that a lot of the topics are quite full on.
Yeah.
But it is such a nice way for them to be in probably a theatre where they feel more welcome.
Yeah, for sure. And the whole atmosphere of the Other Palace, I feel, is kind of like fresh and young. And that doesn't mean like older people can't come and watch the show, because obviously they do and they can. But I just feel like it is really welcoming and young and like and new. And even though it is an older story, like it's from an older film that most of these kids have probably never even seen.
It's a great film, though.
Yeah, it's a great film. I'd never seen it until we started rehearsals, when we had to watch. They said, well, you have to watch it. I was like, okay. And like, and it's funny that these fans, like, they're fans of the show, but some of them probably have never even seen the film, and it was all based on the film. So it's wild. But yeah, it's definitely amazing to see like this community of younger people that love musicals. And I've always been such with TikTok, I think a lot in this past year has kind of changed me as a person, in terms of I get quite badly trolled on TikTok, and it comes and goes. Sometimes it's really bad, sometimes I'm like, yeah, whatever. But particularly this year, there's been a lot from younger people that are teenagers, that are just kind of anyone that's different, or anyone that does something that's not cool, or something that, you know, looks like they're putting effort into, are then subject to bullying and trolling. And I'm fine. I say I can take it. I mean, whatever. But there's
still a threshold, though, isn't there?
Threshold, and it worries me that there's kids in schools that will, you know, do theatre and then be judged and bullied by other people, you know, at their school for just doing what they love doing and being passionate about it and being energetic and enthusiastic and everything like that. So it's so lovely to see this group of really enthusiastic young people coming to watch these shows, because it's like, oh, there is hope. Like, there are kids out there that aren't
phased by it.
Yeah, they aren't phased by it, and they just carry on doing what they love doing. Whether they do it or not, or they love watching it, or they love listening to it, it's amazing to see that there are nice kids out there. They're not all trolls on TikTok, and it is a small minority, I guess, of people that are like that. But I think back to when I was at school, and I think back to people that maybe would take the mick out of other people, even me, for, you know, doing what I wanted to do. I mean, at the time I was like, go away, loser. But like, not every kid has thick skin like that. So it does worry me that people won't, you know, especially with social media and the age of like online bullying and stuff like that. So it's so lovely to see like young people appreciating theatre, loving theatre. So yeah.
It is a really nice thing. So hold on, there's a question. What's your favourite line in Heathers?
Ooh, I'm not sure. September 1st. No, I'm joking. My favourite line actually is, I do not patronise bunny rabbits. I just think it's funny. And we're not allowed to laugh because we're like frozen, like just staring at them having an argument. And I always find that line really funny. And I think Vicky always does it really funny as well. There's quite a few iconic lines in Heathers. What's your favourite line? Can you think of one?
Oh, now you've put me on the spot. This isn't an interview for me, mate. I like September 1st.
Yeah.
Because I just think it's that moment where it's just like boom.
Yeah.
And it's just the atmosphere straight away. Like, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I was quite late to the hype around Heathers.
Yeah.
My friend Kelly, who you probably know, so Kelly Ann from
Oh my god,
Cornwall.
yeah, I know Kelly.
Yeah, love Kelly, my little Cornish pasty. So she got us into Heathers. So during lockdown, we were doing quizzes and things every week. And she was like, you need to go and see Heathers. I'm obsessed. You need to go and see it. And we were like, yeah. It's just one of these shows because our other friends are obsessed with Emily. So we were like, right, okay, let's go for it. But I understand the hype now.
Yeah.
I do get it. As soon as I saw it, I rang her. I was like, oh my God, I get it. I love it.
Yeah, it's amazing. There's so many iconic lines. Most of them probably not suitable to say on here. Yeah, I love it all. My favourite number, someone asked me that on TikTok the other day, my favourite number is Shine a Light, you know, with the
yes,
like my favourite one. And I love it because the lights come on like we're in a school assembly and there's a little fly in my house now. The lights come on like we're in a school assembly and we're actually allowed to like look around at the audience and be like, I don't know, like we're in an actual assembly. It's like our moment to kind of interact with the audience a bit. And the whole Steve thing happens, which is always so funny. And we're always trying to stay in character. We're holding our book, trying to stay in character. But sometimes it's just like, how would you react to that? I don't know. So yeah, that's my favourite number.
Someone has asked who gets to pick Steve.
Miss Fleming. So Vicky will pick at some point during Act 1, and then she'll come and kind of tell everybody who it's going to be. Normally, she'll be like, oh, it's the person wearing glasses in this row, or it's the person wearing the blue jumper or whatever, because obviously we don't know their real names unless it's, sometimes we pick out, like if we've got family or friends sitting in the first few rows, we'll pick them on purpose, which is always really funny. We'll say to Vicky, oh, can you pick my friend, they're in third row, and that'll be that. So yeah, she'll come and tell us in the interval.
Oh, there's one question that actually I was going to ask you. So what is your dream musical to be in?
Legally Blonde.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's probably Heathers. So mine is that. I'd love to be in Legally Blonde. I just love that show. But honestly, anything. I love Bring It On, but I don't think I've got the stamina to do Bring It On.
Oh yeah, that's a really full on.
How are they singing and how are they doing that? Although Legally Blonde with the skip and ropes, that's probably quite tricky as well. Brooke Wyndham with.
You only have to do one. That's fine. Like
yeah,
the whole of Bring It On is full on.
The rest is fine. Yeah, I'd love Legally Blonde or Hairspray, Grease, like all of those. Mamma Mia, I love.
You'd be good at Mamma Mia though. You've got the energy for Mamma Mia.
Yeah, I'd love that. I want to.
So anyone out there that wants to hire Hannah, Legally Blonde, please, or Mamma Mia.
But not too soon because I'm still loving Heathers, so not yet.
Great.
Someone said Six. Yeah, I do love Six. I would love to be in Six as well, actually. Just anything honestly, anything.
Anything.
Shows as well, though. Like, I'd love to be in Sound of Music as an adult, like as Liesl or something. Like, I'd love that.
That'd be a really nice, like, full circle thing as well, like going back to it, but obviously older.
To go back and do Oliver as an adult. Because I remember just thinking the adult ensemble looked so fun in Oliver as well, because it's kind of like just there wasn't a huge amount of dancing. And I love dancing, but I think I prefer the numbers in Heathers that are less dancing because it's more just like step tap. Yeah, someone said it's very early in Heathers. What's the funniest or biggest mishap so far? Lots of things happen. Lots of things happen that just make me laugh. I think I need a bit more experience to stop corpsing on stage. But I just find the show so funny because we're all so friendly as a cast as well. We have jokes in the dressing room and then we get on stage and I'm like, right, forget about that joke that's just happened. So probably just, in Dead Gay Sun, we have to go, I'm talking you and me, in the summer of 83. I think that's it. Or 82. Me and you, 82. I don't know. We have to.
You've got a few days to repractice.
I don't say it. I just do all that. And MJ in the line behind me, I don't know if she's watching, she was earlier. She honestly, I don't know, she sounded like someone was dying behind me. She went, in there. And oh my gosh, it made me laugh. And we're supposed to be frozen here. And he's doing like, the dad is doing kind of a moment. And I was like this. And there were kids on the front, like teenagers on the front row that were actually pointing at me and laughing because they could see. And I was like, stop, stop, stop. That was the most unprofessional moment of my life. But it's like a fun kind of funny show, so you can kind of get away with it. But I do try my best to not laugh on stage. I'm trying to think of like mishap moments that have happened. I don't think I can think of any. I always, every day, I think, oh my gosh, what if Lizzie's, what if her wheelchair? I wish what it doesn't start, because it goes, Veronica says, Martha, are you free tonight? And then they call the thing, and then you can kind of hear it comes from behind us. So you can kind of
you can hear it, yeah.
And then you hear, and then like Lizzie comes on her scooter. And every day I'm like, one day that scooter's just not going to turn on, and she's just going to have to just stand up and walk in, and like every day
like push it along,
I'm like wait, yeah, push it on, like walk in either side with her legs. Every day I'm like, oh my gosh, if that happens, it probably never will, but I always think about it. So when it does happen, or like she's going to scoot off the end of the stage or something every time, hopefully it never happens, but it might.
So someone said Broadway or West End. Would you ever do Broadway?
Yeah, if I had the opportunity, I think I definitely would. I've never really thought about it, to be honest. I've always just thought that like people in America do Broadway and we just stay here.
Do you in London?
Yeah, London. But I guess there are lots of crossovers nowadays, so I'd love that. I love New York as well, so I'd love.
That fly is still alive, but I just saw it.
Why is it in here? There you go. Oh, it's on my hand. There's a tissue here, it's fine. Gross.
Right, we've got a couple of minutes left, so we'll just round it up and talk about random things. So what are your like top 3 favourite musicals?
Oh, Bring It On, the musical. I've never actually seen it, but I love the soundtrack. Les Mis. Oh, my boyfriend's back. Les Mis and Legally Blonde. No, and Heathers. Yeah, 4. I said 4. They're basically all the ones I want to be in, plus Les Mis.
That's fine. And top 4 shows of the year.
Ooh.
That you've seen.
Waitress. Loved that on tour. I'm not, like, what have I actually seen this year? I can't think of what I've seen this year. I saw 9 to 5 on tour. What else did I see? I think that's it. No, I saw something else at the new Wimbledon Theatre. I can't remember. Definitely Waitress and definitely Heathers. And I really want to see Come From Away again, because I saw that just before pandemic and loved that. So I really want to see that again. Sorry, I didn't really answer.
Is there any productions you'd like to see in 2022? Because there's a lot of new stuff coming out. So is there anything that you've gone, oh, I need to see that, I need to see that?
Yeah, I really want to see Frozen. I know that's been out this year, but I've not seen that yet. I really want to see Frozen. What else do I want to see?
You're in for a treat with Frozen.
Yeah, I think just
it's so good.
Frozen. I really want to see Spring Awakening. We've got tickets booked to see that at the Almeida Theatre. So we'll be going to see that in January because our tickets got changed, which is fine. I don't know. Anything and everything.
I really want to go and see The Wiz and Hope Mill, but I really feel like I'm not going to see it now because it keeps closing as well. And I'm like, damn it.
So annoying. But yeah, I'd love to see that. I don't really know much about The Wiz, but I'd love to see that. I'm going to see Wicked at some point again because I've not seen Wicked in years. So hopefully Lucy's in it. And my mum loves Wicked as well. So we've got like a voucher to take her to see it this year. I know it's a classic, but you can't go wrong with Wicked.
You can't.
So to sum this up then, how can people support Heathers? Because obviously at the moment with it being closed, is there any way that people could support Heathers moving forward?
I think just hang in there. We're closed right now, but hopefully only until the 5th. Hopefully we'll be back on the 5th. So I think the biggest support we can have right now as a company is just to be kind to all of the front of house staff and the box office and everyone that are kind of mainly dealing with all the COVID arrangements, and just make sure if they, make sure I know some people were like, oh, I'll just get a refund on my tickets, but it would be amazing if you just rebooked for another date, came down and supported. We're on until February the 20th at the moment, so hopefully you'll be able to get in to see it before then. But yeah, just keep the Heathers
Love going.
love going. It's always there. And we'll be back to I've got loads of fun ideas for Heathers content in the new year, so keep an eye on TikTok and the Heathers Instagram and TikTok and everything like that. And I think that's how the best you can support. My friend's on here, so can you please say hi, Ali Pally? There you go. Hi.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time today, Hannah. It's been so lovely chatting to you. And fingers crossed you'll be back.
Yeah, it's been quite nice, talking to somebody and actually getting dressed and not just sitting in my pajamas with COVID. So thank you.
You're going to put your pajamas back on though now, aren't you? Let's be honest.
Till the 5th.
Yeah. To the 5th. Thank you so much. Hopefully I can get down to see it. I'm trying to come down to the other palace before you're gone.
Oh, amazing.
And can you see it? So I will let you know if I'm coming. Yeah. But thank you so much for your time today, Hannah. I really appreciate it.
Hey.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye. That was the lovely Hannah. Thank you so much for joining me and for all the love for Hannah, and definitely go and support Heathers. As she said, it is on till the 20th of February over at the other palace. And if you do have tickets and you've had your show changed, please, if you can go again, please do. But if you can't, donate that money to the theatre and to the show because it is so important. I will be back in the new year with some more guests. And if you are new around here, follow me at 𝗘𝗺. I do lots of stage content. I do lots of Q&As, some reviews, and I've also posted today my top shows of 2021. So hopefully you will stick around and wait for exciting content in the new year. I'm currently trying to get one of the performers in Frozen for a Q&A. So fingers crossed, in mid-January we will be joined by that person from Frozen. And I will bid you farewell because my tummy keeps rumbling, so I really need to go and get some food. But take care and thank you so much for joining me, and I will speak to you very soon. Bye.